The first 6 rules were printed on ordinary paper. The 7th appeared after Mara Vale entered Pine Hollow Station. By then, the door had already locked behind her, and the thing outside had already learned her name. Pine Hollow had a simple tradition. Once a year, someone climbed to the old research station and restarted its emergency beacon. The town called it maintenance. The people who had to do it called it a lottery. Mara volunteered because her younger brother had disappeared on the same road 3 years earlier. The envelope waiting on her truck contained a key, a hand-drawn map, and one sentence: "If the beacon is dark, do not trust the voices in the forest." She drove uphill through rain that erased the road behind her. The dashboard clock read 11:47. At the next bend, her headlights caught a figure standing in the middle of the lane. Mara hit the brakes. The road was empty.
She drove uphill through rain that erased the road behind her. The dashboard clock read 11:47. At the next bend, her headlights caught a figure standing in the middle of the lane. Mara hit the brakes. The road was empty. The station appeared through the trees a minute later, all peeling paint, black windows, and a beacon tower that looked too tall for the hill beneath it. Mara took the key, picked up the envelope, and stepped inside before midnight. The first 3 rules were typed on a damp sheet. Rule 1: enter before midnight. After midnight, the forest counts footsteps. Rule 2: keep one light on in every room you leave. Rule 3: if the radio speaks in your voice, unplug it without answering. The rules sounded like superstition, which was exactly why Mara followed them. In Pine Hollow, disbelief was not bravery. It was an invitation. The station smelled of wet wood and old batteries. One fluorescent tube blinked above the corridor. Then another, lighting a path behind Mara as if the building wanted her to see where she had been. Every clock showed a different time. A child's height chart had been scratched over and over until the tallest mark reached the ceiling. Mara left a desk lamp burning in the first room and moved toward the radio chamber. At 12:06, the receiver spoke. It used Mara's voice, but it breathed between every word. Mara opened the door. She remembered Rule 3. She pulled the plug. The voice continued through the empty speaker. "Mara, you forgot the road."
She did not answer. She kept one hand on the brass compass at her chest and walked to the window. Something carried a lantern through the trees. It did not swing with footsteps. It floated, paused, and floated again. The figure stopped directly opposite the station. Mara lowered her flashlight. The lantern outside rose until its yellow glass hovered level with her eyes. Behind the glass was a tall, faceless shape. No features, no expression. Just a human outline standing where the forest should have been empty. Then the lantern moved away. The map marked a supply room. The wall contained a second door, narrow and freshly painted. Mara opened it. Behind the door was a bedroom untouched by dust. A warm lamp glowed beside a clean bed. On the blanket sat a red backpack exactly like hers. Around it lay photographs of Mara at 7 years old, at 16, and yesterday, standing on the road below. A camera shutter clicked from somewhere inside the walls. Mara backed away. The door slammed shut. When she looked down, a 4th line had appeared on the rule sheet. Rule 4. If a familiar person asks you to come outside, check their shadow. From the yard, a young man's voice called her childhood nickname. It was Eli. Her brother had been missing for 3 years. She had spent 3 years trying to remember the exact sound of his voice. Now it came through the rain, soft and patient, asking her to open the door. Mara lifted the lantern and looked through the blinds. The figure in the yard smiled. Rain passed through its shoes. No shadow touched the ground. Behind it, the forest opened around a pale deer with branch-like antlers. Its eyes reflected the lantern light without blinking. A dark hollow marked its chest, and something ember red pulsed inside it like a warning light buried under bone. The deer lowered its head toward the station. Mara shut the blinds.
Above her, the beacon room waited at the top of a spiral stair. The machine was not broken. It was full. Vines had grown through the circuitry from the inside, winding around a counter labeled Memory. The needle rested at 99. One more pulse would complete the count. Mara understood the trick. The station was not feeding on fear. It was feeding on recognition. Every familiar voice, every remembered face, every reason to open the door gave the forest another piece of her. The brass compass in her hand spun once, then pointed toward the radio room instead of north. Mara opened her backpack and removed the photograph she had carried for 3 years. It showed her and Eli on the road below the station. His face was young, sunlit, and impossible to forget. The figure with the lantern appeared at the far end of the control room. It was too tall for the ceiling. Its lantern was warm. Its face was not there. Mara did not look at it. She placed the photograph into the open beacon core. The rule sheet curled at the edges. Beneath the old ink, new words surfaced. Rule 7. Do not remember the way home. Mara closed her eyes. Behind her, doors opened onto different seasons. One led to a summer forest filled with golden insects. Another opened onto a snow-covered corridor. A third revealed a warm hallway lined with people who had never come back. The Lantern Man took one step. Mara ran. The spiral stair shook under her boots. The alarm grew brighter as she climbed. Rain struck the tower windows. The forest below folded inward, and the lantern scattered among the trees like stars sinking into black water. Mara reached the roof and pulled the final lever. At sunrise, the beacon flashed across Pine Hollow. Mara walked out of the forest alive. She was soaked, exhausted, and unable to recognize the town below her. The road looked familiar, but nothing in her heart answered to it. A bell rang in the valley. Mara reached into her coat pocket and found one narrow strip of paper. It unfolded by itself. The writing was fresh. Rule 8. When she returns, pretend you know her. The paper went still. Far up the hill, the beacon flashed once more. And in the distance, just beyond the first line of trees, a warm yellow lantern began to move toward town. If you had been Mara, would you have followed the rules? Or tried to outsmart the thing that wrote them? Tell me your answer before the next rule appears.